Okay, Maestro, hit it.
I'm Wally Boat. I didn't know you knew Mickey Mouse.
Museum of the Weird.
The dawn of a new era.
Just a dream away.
I do want to transition a bit from the artistry to the other facet of your career, which is puppetry, because you have so many elements to your career.
I know, right?
It's, so, what was the very first puppet that you built?
Lamb Chop.
Lamb Chop. Okay.
Do you know Lamb Chop?
I do know Lamb Chop. That was one of my favorites as a kid. I had a Lamb Chop toy, and she was probably my favorite toy that I owned.
I'm a 6-year-old girl, and I've just been cornered against a fence and beaten up by people because I don't look like they look. And I come home bruised and beaten and crying. And I sit down and I turn on the TV, and there's this wonderful human being, Sherry Lewis, and she's talking to
Miss Lamb Chop.
Thank you, and especially thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the London Palladium.
Palladium.
Oh, hello there.
and they are sharing their thoughts and philosophies. And I said, well, what if I had my own Lamb Chop? Then I could talk to Lamb Chop about things that are bothering me that my parents may or may not understand. And I have very wonderful parents. My father is my hero, and my mother is amazing. This is my dad. I'll show you guys some of my family. So this is my father. He was the first Black telephone man in Hollywood, California. And they told him he would run into adversity. And my dad said, no problem, and became one of the most beloved phone men. My dad said, poison isn't effective unless you take it. So he taught me, being a white chick with his hair, that there were going to be challenges for me. Now, my sister, this is my sister, and you can see that she got my mother's hair and that nice, what I call that cream in the coffee skin. And she lives in Maui, so she's living the life there.
Oh, absolutely.
But she surfs and she does all kind of cool stuff like that. But my family just tried to, you have two girls. One, that's my sister, was easier put in a box, and me, I was a what are you? People would say, what are you? Because I'd had my hair all different, you saw it. It's all blonde and it's sticking every direction, and I've got white skin, and I'm lighter than my entire family. So everybody is like, what the hell are you? And you run into this as a young child. And my dad said, just be the best you that you can be. So I made this wonderful little Lamb Chop character and realized that puppets were a great way for people who were bullied to have a confidant that they could talk to and that would sympathize, and you could actually have your thoughts outside so you could deal with something. So, maybe you're sitting there saying to yourself, why is it that just because the way I look makes people mean to me? And Lamb Chop would talk back to you and say, poison isn't effective unless you take it. So keep smiling,
I think that is an absolutely beautiful take on, you as an individual, for having gone through, and you talk about in your book as well, about how trying to audition for an actor to become an actress, and people criticizing your looks and saying, so that's how you got into puppetry. I think it's incredible how you have taken all of these, all of the worst qualities of people and made it into such an amazing career, and all of the things that you've done. And it's like, look at them. Like, are they being invited to, the people who are bullying you? They're not being invited to Disney World or at Disneyland to sculpt, to do all of these things that you've done. I admire you personally. And I just wanted to take time to tell you how incredible everything that you've done is.
It's crazy. And thank you, Josiah, for saying that. But here's something for everyone watching and listening. The biggest form, what is it? The best way to get back at the bullies is success. So all through school, I'm bullied, and then I'm brought back in my class reunion, and I'm coming back and I'm hailed as the most successful in my business today at my reunion, my 20-year reunion. And I was this geeky kid people stomped on, people bully, people terrorized. And now I strut in. I got this great figure. My hair looks amazing. I got this hot guy on my arm. And I'm like, and I've donated Henson stuff, Henson bags, Henson pins, Kermit watches, things from where all the industry, and everybody is like, what? Most of them didn't even remember who I was because I had embraced my look. And that takes time. As a child, I'll show you, here I am as a little kid, still with pumpkins. Okay. But this is what my white mother was taught how to do my hair. And if you're a person of color, you're going to recognize this hairstyle right away. You pull the hair way back and you put it in some sort of braid or something, because heaven help you if you try to put a comb on it. So you've got all of that happening. And then here we are as kids, again, my sister with the curly hair and me with it pulled back. And please, Lord, don't let me comb that. My poor white mother, whose hair looks the same wet as it does dry, or dry as it does wet. And mine went up. She was hysterical. She was a white lady. She saw this hair and she went away, she cried and I cried, and so finally my father says, we're going to go up and see my side of the family. And my side of the family, my father's side of the family, all people of color, took an ironing board out, true story, put it on the cotton setting, laid my head down, put my hair out and ironed it. So it could be workable. So you can put a comb through it. Now you're going to have people of color out there going, yeah, that happened. Yeah. Yeah. And that, and my mother was like, what are you doing? You're ironing my child's hair, freaking out. But you don't know the culture that you don't know. Mm-hmm. And my father was he's to this day, he's a water off a duck kind of a guy. Oh, I got this, And when I finally found dreadlocks, which are the blessing of my life, when they finally came into existence, thank you, Lord, thank you. My dad didn't understand why it was so important for me to have dreadlocks, because in many pictures, I can look completely white, have my hair straightened, it's blonde. But then for me as a mixed girl, it made people think I was white, and it made me feel like nobody realized that my father, who is of color, was a very part of my life. It's when I was going into college, there was no other box. Mm-hmm. And so they kept telling me I had to choose white or black. So ethnicity, white, black, Spanish, Hawaiian, Italian, but no black, white. Now it's different. Thank God it's different. And then you have declined to state if you don't even want to talk about it. But I kept checking both boxes, and people said, you can't check both. And I was like, well, which parent do you want me to diss? Which one do I need to disown? Both of them are very special. They make me who I am. So you have to have time to grow into who you are, and hopefully your parents help you to do that. But if not, you get with like-minded people, and they help you to understand that being a human being is a gift from God, and it's something that's very special. You're not a goose. If you were a goose and you didn't want to fly south for the winter, you still fly south for the winter. Here you are, a goose. I like the snow. I'm a goose. I like the snow. I don't want to fly, but yet you're flying because you're a goose and you have nothing else to do. But as a human being, if your day is absolutely garbage today, you can go to sleep, wake up the next day and say, it's not going to be garbage. New day, new agenda, draw a line in the sand, and you have the power to make it different. That is what humans do. And that's what humans have the ability to do. So I don't care what you look like or what people say. And the haters out there, usually it's about the person doing the hating. They will target anybody it has nothing really to do with you. You just happen to have hair that goes out here or something that's different. So they target you because you're different. But the reality is it's because they're all dark inside and they are trying some way to make somebody else feel what they're feeling. And it's stupid. It's just go help somebody do something positive. Don't go around and spread your hate. Okay. If you are feeling bad, go do something kind for someone and you will be like the Grinch. Your heart will get bigger because you are becoming of service and you're helping someone.
Absolutely.
So that all of these things that were doors opening for me was because my father said, if a door of opportunity comes, go through it, worry about what you're going to do later. You have the ability, just believe that you can, but fight for what your dream is. Okay. You can't just sit in a corner and say Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. That might work for some, but the reality is you need to make a step in a direction. And I always say a step in any direction, no matter, even if it's wrong, creates momentum. And the next thing you know, you're on your path. So that's my family.
That's a beautiful, beautiful concept. Incredible man, incredible parents. I mean, both for how they could shape your career into just, I can see why you were invited often to speak, because those are just incredible stories.
I was born, think about it. I was born in 1957. Okay. When my dad took me to the park and other kids are lifting the other parents are lifting their kids to get a drink of water, my dad can't touch me because it's a black man putting his hands on a white child, even though that white child is his daughter. I want you to really think about that. Not you, Josiah, but everyone.
Right.
Think about how I am standing there saying, Daddy, pick me up. And my dad cannot, because he could be arrested or shot, depending on where we are. And so these things could have made him bitter, could have made him angry, but instead he looked at them with understanding. You don't understand, you don't get it, you're not, some people are aggressive about it, and he was kind of like, he pitied them. Sometimes I think he's a little bit too kind towards people, but it's his nature. Is he's like, you got to be the best you can be, and you've got to teach people what they don't understand. People are often not cool with things they don't understand. And sometimes they're still not cool. I get that. But all my life, my dad had to be very, very careful when he was out with his little white child, because it could have been he could have been in a horrible situation. So a lot of times he took my mom with me because my mom is light skinned. So then my mom would pick me up, or my mom would take me places, and then he would take my sister. But, when you're a family, you got to, it's kind of like, all right, here's our game plan. Hard. Football players, you know what I mean? You can't just go out to the park. You got to have a game plan,
So we'll go back to puppetry in a minute, but I do want to ask you, since we're on the subject of, are you happy with, Disney's obviously been pushing for a lot more inclusion in recent films and works. Are you happy with the directions they've been taking, or do you think there's more they could do in that aspect?
Okay, I'm like this. And here's why I'm like this, okay? Because you can't just trade out a white character for a black character. Or a white character for a person of color. So let's take Star Wars Episode 7, which is a terrible movie. Now you know my opinion ahead of time, where they took the original Star Wars, and in the place of certain characters, they put, here's our original Star Wars, and we have Luke Skywalker, and we have Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we have Harrison Ford. Okay, so we're not going to replace the Wookiee, but in the Skywalker position, we're going to put a woman. That's it. We're going to put a woman there, because now we've got the woman in there. And then we're going to put a black guy in. And it's the same story, but just like Color Forms, which was a toy I used to play when I was a little kid. that they're pasting it in there. And you don't want that to happen. You know, people of color don't want you to pick them because they're a person of color. They want you to choose them because they're good at what they do. So if a woman can play the role as well as a man, great. Then audition men and women, and whoever wins. Do it that way. Because we can see it. We see through when you paste things and you put them in because you're putting in your token girl or your token color person or your token. We see that. We're not stupid. So if we take a show that I have said will do for television what Star Wars did for film, Ted Lasso,
Love it.
and you
Great
watch
show.
Ted Lasso, if you haven't seen Ted Lasso, listen to me, read my lips. Ted Lasso will be and is doing for television what Star Wars did for film. You must see this. This is not a maybe I'll watch it. This is you're going to miss the whole trend if you don't watch it. And the thing that makes this show so beautiful is that every character that is in that show, every character that is in that show, and I have been acting since I was 6, every character is there because they're talented, not because of their gender, not because of their color, but because they are good. And this is what you need to consider if you're going to move forward and make it about all people, then make it about all people. Stop picking people because of their color, picking people because of their gender. Just make your film and audition everybody. And those who fit, and those who don't. And we're going to love it so much better because we're going to see that you took the time to hire people that were good, not hire people because you have some image of whatever's in your head. And this is what is the challenge with Disney. Okay, let's take Splash Mountain because that's coming next. All right, you want to do Princess and the Frog, but let's think about it. At the time that they had to do this, they wanted to do someone with a princess of color. Okay, let's see how many princes there are that they're of color. How many princesses are actually of color that Disney did? 1. So is it a surprise that they're doing Princess and the Frog? And I'm sitting there going, really? Boy, that was a stretch. That was a real stretch. You want to make it more appease you can't please everybody. Stop trying to please everybody. If you don't like Splash Mountain, and I happen to think it's wrong to replace this ride because it's not a racist ride, in my opinion. It has one of the most fun songs, Zippity Doo Dah. Uncle Remus is nowhere near it. And the actor, Uncle Remus, was an amazing actor, and he happened to be very good at what he did. So I'm against you replacing it. However, Splash Mountain is kind of an old attraction. I built the boats for it. So and the rabbit, I'm going to miss it if you get rid of my rabbit and my boat. But the point is if you get rid of it because perhaps it's tired, then that's a different thing. And if you want to put something in that celebrates people or persons of color or not, Disney, the last time you looked, you were in the creative zone. You create, you don't. There's no reason. You've been pulling from Marvel, you've been pulling from Star Wars, but remember, you are creatives. So create an attraction that celebrates what you're looking for. And now we have a ton of examples that they're pulling out that they're doing. You've got Coco and you've got Princess and the Frog and you've got et cetera, so on and so forth, build. But you don't necessarily have to make your attraction on that ride. You could make a totally different one. Pirates of the Caribbean, Walt did because he liked pirates. Thought that would be cool. Haunted Mansion. There was no Haunted Mansion movie. And so now you have a Haunted Mansion attraction. Those movies came after. So why are you not creating? You don't have to copy stuff. You are Imagineers. You are Disney. One of the biggest powerhouses, one of the most creative companies in the world. Create, period. End of story. Just make it.
Absolutely. And I 100% agree with as far as reusing films as overlays. It makes you miss those attractions like Horizons, Spaceship Earths, like those kind of attractions are just, you don't see them anymore. And that's one of the hardest things to see. Now it's funny, going back to Ted Lasso, that you mentioned Ted Lasso, because I don't know if you're Roy Kent on there is a huge Muppets fan. I don't know if you're aware of this.
I didn't realize he was. I'm a huge Roy Kent fan.
He did a 6-minute adaptation of Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, how cute.
And
but
it's on YouTube.
I
I will send it to you. It is amazing.
Oh, I'd love to see it.